right, guys, what's going on? Welcome in. So Rich Cimini, man, he dropped a huge article with a lot of information. Of course, it's linked down below in the description box, but he talked a little bit about the quarterback position. Now, let's just read it word for word because there's a lot of information here. He listed off a couple of direct names that are linked to the Jets, but here we go. He says the quarterback mystery. Everybody wants to know who will line up behind center in 2026. The Jets have been linked to no fewer than a dozen quarterbacks, everyone from the retired Derek Carr to Malik Willis. It's not a great year to need a QB1, so there's no surefire answer out there. Here's where it gets interesting. There's a sense that the Jets will look to add two veterans, steering away from overpriced big names and focusing on cost-effective backups / stopgap starters, players such as Tanner McKee, Spencer Rattler, and Tyson Bagent. Another one to watch is Jarrett Stidham, who's under contract with the Denver Broncos. GM Darren Mougey knows him from his time in Denver. Now, quick little side note here. It's kind of ironic because Cimini mentions that the Jets could be steering away from overpriced big names and focusing on quote-unquote cost-effective backups / stopgap starters. But the big names that are out there, Kyler Murray, probably going to, I'm just going to assume Tua is going to be cut. Geno Smith, those three guys could, in theory, sign for a minimal deal. They could go out and sign the veteran minimum contract, which is $1 million. Essentially, the Russell Wilson thing, right? When he left Denver, he was getting paid so much. There was the offset language in the contract. And so he signed a minimum deal with Pittsburgh. So Pittsburgh's like, cool, we'll take a flyer on it. Geno Smith, those three guys could, in theory, they could do that. Now, Kirk Cousins, I learned the other day that Kirk Cousins has offset language in his current deal with the Falcons in the reworked, new, revamped deal. So there's a chance that he could do that as well, although there was the report that came out, I believe it was yesterday, saying that Cousins wants to wait a little bit, see how the market plays out, and he's not just going to jump the gun and sign immediately within the first 5 minutes of free agency, which tells me that he's probably not just going to sign. Kirk Cousins is also known for, being kind of this money-making machine in the free agency market, right? The fully guaranteed deal from Minnesota. I mean, he racked up, $100 million from Atlanta. Yeah, on top of all those franchise tags that he got back in the day with Washington. So I don't know if Kirk Cousins is just going to sign a 1-year deal worth $1 million. I mean, it feels like it's a massive, like that hasn't been talked about at all, but I guess in theory it could happen. But anyway, looking at the names that Cimini mentioned, McKee, Rattler, Bagent, and Stidham, we'll start with McKee first. I feel like out of that list, he probably makes the most sense in regards to like the Frank Reich offense, a bigger pocket passer who has direct ties to Nick Sirianni, who came from the Frank Reich coaching tree. Also, Frank Reich is close to Kevin Patullo, and Patullo was obviously in Philadelphia this past season working with McKee. There's probably these conversations that are happening behind the scenes, I would assume, about Tanner McKee if he could be a possible option for this Jets team. Now, Cimini mentions two veterans. So I wonder if there could be a situation where it's like they trade for, say, a Tanner McKee, and then they go out and they sign a Marcus Mariota, or they trade for an Andy Dalton, someone like that, or a Jimmy G, like a veteran like that, a cheap veteran, and just say, hey, you guys are going to have a battle, and then maybe we go draft a quarterback on day 3. Right, a Drew Aller, a Garrett Nussmeier. I was actually impressed with Cade Klubnik over at the Combine. Not saying that I felt like he was a sleeper or anything because of, his hype was at one point very, very high. He was a projected number 1 overall pick coming into the college season. So I didn't want to say like, oh, Klubnik is a sleeper. But just kind of in the background, I was thinking to myself, hey, you know what? I wonder how Cade does. And he was out there slinging it. But in any case, how would you feel about that? I don't think that it would be the worst option in the world because McKee, you're betting on upside. He could be the potential option. You'd have your dart throw quarterback in day 3 of the draft, and then you'd have someone like an Andy Dalton or a Mariota be able to pick up Frank Reich's system easily, and he's the QB2, right? Or, again, you could have McKee and the veteran just have an open competition, and then best man wins, that whole thing. But you're kind of like, You're revamping the quarterback room with potential options for the long term, but you're not strapping yourself into, all right, get ready, $100 million, here we come to sign this. We got to sink $100 million into this quarterback to get him to come here. We're not in a position where, all right, 4-year deal, this is it. No, it kind of feels like 1 foot in, 1 foot out. If it works, great. If it doesn't, okay, we have the 3 firsts next season. So I do like it from that plan. And I do feel like McKee gives you like a glimmer of hope of, okay, he might be the guy, right? You could never rule out a rookie before the draft, but if you get like a Drew Aller, is it 100% set in stone that he does nothing in his NFL career? Like, there's a shot there. There's a shot of upside. Plus, you have that safe veteran option as well. But going back to the list here, Spencer Rattler is easily my second choice on this list here. I felt like Rattler did a decent job. I know it sounds a little funny because he lost a bunch of games for the Saints, and he's not the biggest guy out there, but I feel like he has a good enough arm. I feel like his mechanics are pretty good. He has mobility to get outside the pocket, extend a little bit. And he's done a really good job, too, of getting rid of, he's a bad teammate. Like, Spencer Rattler is bought in. Spencer Rattler supports his guys. He's a great example of someone who learned from his mistakes in the past of how to interact with coaches and approach to the game, how to interact with teammates and, who he's playing against. Like, Spencer Rattler is super, super mature at this stage, which I really, really like. Tyson Bagent's interesting. I've seen his name pop up over and over again, but I haven't really been impressed personally with Bagent, like on the field. 3 career touchdowns to 6 career interceptions. Again, I just haven't really liked what I've seen so far from Bagent, but I suppose he's not the worst idea out there. And then we have Jarrett Stidham, and I would say he's probably, man, what's tough about Stidham was, like, he has the arm. He has the body type. He has years on the bench, learning behind 2 great offensive minds in Josh McDaniels and Sean Payton. Like, everything is lined up for Stidham, but I feel like every time he gets an opportunity, it just does not go well. Offense just doesn't move. It's just not productive. Had his little stint with the Raiders as well. I'm not sure. I think Stidham would kind of be that okay QB2 option, but not as the guy going in like, hey, Jarrett Stidham is our quarterback acquisition. That's it. That's it. Stidham's going to be their 17-game starter, no questions asked. I don't like that approach. So this thing feels so wide open because there's a lot of teams that need quarterbacks, but there are a bunch of moving names here. I'm surprised Cimini did not mention Jacoby Brissett, who's been linked to the Jets. Of course, right? We all kind of expected that. But anyway, let me know your thoughts down below in the comment section. Thanks so much for watching. And as always, go Jets.